example, we have bullet trains, but in these temperatures they fail. The tracks freeze, the trains don't run, the trains are always late anyways. So I'm super curious to experience how China handles this travel rush in this cold temperatures with millions of people traveling on the train. This was China's rail network in 2008, and this is China's rail network today. Good morning to Dandong railway station. Today we're gonna make our way to Beijing, which is like 800 kilometers away. China's high-speed rail network now stretches for roughly 50,000 kilometers. I think my train's already waiting there. By the way, the ticket only cost me $50 to cross a distance of almost 1,000 kilometers. That's crazy. Over the past decades, China has poured billions of dollars into its rail network while generating little to no profit from it. Instead, China gained something far more powerful, a fully interconnected country supported by one of the world's most advanced and reliable rail networks, helping turn China into a global economic superpower. Just look, this is a train station. I am not in an airport. There are the robots waiting. Today, I'm taking the fastest currently operating bullet train in China during the busiest travel season of the year, the Spring Festival, when hundreds of millions of people travel home to celebrate Lunar New Year with their families. Let's find out how China's infrastructure handles passenger volumes on a scale that is hard to imagine anywhere else in the world. We're gonna try China's infrastructure in freezing temperatures and see how efficient it is. Oh, hi, ni hao. Hi, ni hao. So let's go, there's the entry. Okay, this is a lot of traffic. Are we gonna make our way through here? Oh. Let's head in here. So, I think we have to gonna make our way through security check. Ni hao. As a foreigner, the automated ticket checks don't work because I have a foreign passport, so I always have to get the manual check here because the ticket is tied to your passport. Okay. 谢谢. Next step, security check. So we're inside the station. The funny thing is, usually when I come to China, it is like way too hot in the summer. That's the first time I come in winter, and it is actually way too cold in winter. I need so much gear. I have so much stuff with me for these freezing, icy, cold temperatures. And yeah, that makes traveling a little bit more inconvenient and exhausting. But now we're inside the station. For a Chinese train station, this one here is a rather small station. It is actually teeny tiny because I'm in Dandong in the very, very far northeast at the border to North Korea. If you're curious about the city and the border to North Korea, check out my last video. But yeah, this is a very small train station, so it is easy to navigate, though Beijing as the capital is huge and massive, and I am not exactly sure how the situation will be right now during the Spring Festival travel rush and in freezing cold temperatures, because in Germany, for example, we have bullet trains, but in these temperatures they fail. The tracks freeze, the trains don't run, the trains are always late anyways. So I'm super curious to experience how China handles this travel rush in this cold temperatures with millions of people traveling on the train each day. My train up there just turned blue on the screen, so let's head over there. Luckily this train station only has 2 gates. So that makes it easy to find the right one. Everyone's already lining up here. But I think again I have to use the manual line with my foreign passport here. So let's get to the manual ticket checking. G178, that up there is my train. 你好，
这个吗？到北京吗？
北京，对。Okay, let's head in there. Here in China, you can only enter the platform once, like a couple of minutes before your train is actually arriving. So train stations here are actually more like airports. And this here, I think, is our platform up there. Oh no, someone's falling down. The good thing though is at least you cannot accidentally go to the wrong train, because you can only enter the one platform where your train goes. I think my train's already waiting there. Okay, so there's another train over there. That one's ours though, the red one. I'm not sure why this one is red and the other one is blue. So far I've only been on the blue ones. The blue ones I think are like the very fast ones. The red ones might not go as fast. It's a G train too. Why is it red? I don't really know. So we're gonna have to find coach 6. So you see 2 trains connected together, I guess to handle all the people traveling to Beijing today. This is such a long train. And I have to go all the way to coach 6, which should be the next one over there. Coach 6. Just head in there. Okay, so there is a place where I can put my luggage. No, let's find the seat. And we're leaving. Of course, exactly on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to take this train. The next stop is Fengchendo Railway Station.
We are on our way to Beijing, and I just did my quick research. We are on the newest train model here, the CR400AF. That's why it has a red stripe. This train will go at a speed of 350 kilometers an hour, and we're gonna travel a total of 819 kilometers down to Beijing within less than 4 hours. That is crazy. That is, it's almost like flying. And as you can see, there are like so many tunnels here. There's like, the landscape is really mountainous. And one crazy thing about the infrastructure here in China is just the terrain, how mountainous it is. And like half of the time you're actually like traveling inside tunnels on these trains. It's just like absolutely crazy, like how efficient and advanced this is. And also for the train nerds, this year in 2026 they're gonna roll out a completely new train model which can go up to 450 kilometers an hour. That's crazy. So in practice it's only going to be used up to 400 kilometers, but theoretically it could go even faster. So once this new train is rolled out, I'll definitely going to be back here and try it out. And then we were speeding through China's mountainous northwest, with temperatures outside dropping as low as minus 18 degrees Celsius. But even the freezing cold didn't slow our train down, as it raced at full speed through bare forests and open meadows, with windmills stretching as far as the eye could see. For what felt like dozens of kilometers, we saw nothing but wind turbines, a reminder of how China has become the world leader in wind energy and renewable energy overall. A few minutes later, the landscape changed again, and the wind turbines were replaced by countless farming tons used to grow fresh produce for the more than 1.4 billion people living in China. Right on time, we reached our next stop in a city I had never even heard of, yet it probably had more people and skyscrapers than almost any city in Europe. Seeing this incredibly organized and carefully planned infrastructure built to support the country's growing population and economy was genuinely impressive. And I have no doubt that China's ability to streamline production and infrastructure on such a massive scale is one of the main reasons the country was able to rise into one of the world's most important global powers within just a few decades.
By scanning this QR code down here on the handle, you can actually open the train information on your phone, see the stations, you can even upgrade your ticket. And what I think is like so cool is you can order food to your seat and even outside food. So how this works is you order from one of these restaurants on your phone, and once the train reaches that station, staff will bring your outside food order from Burger King or KFC or wherever here onto the train to your seat, so you don't even have to leave your seat, which is like super convenient and really cool, I think. There is also a board restaurant here on the train, so you can also order inside food or just like go over to the restaurant if you like to.
We just arrived to Beijing Chaoyang Station. Here we are, 4 hours later, 800 kilometers later. We've arrived to Beijing Chaoyang Station, and so far everything seems like super well organized. I don't think too many people are getting off here at the station. There's one more station, Beijing Central Station, I suppose. This is probably where the majority of the people on the train will go off. Before we can actually leave the train station, we're gonna have to check in with a passport again. 你好，谢谢。The next step is to find a taxi. These stations are like huge, and I have no idea where the taxi stand is. The people throw all of this organization in these like huge train stations that are literally the size of an airport. It's just crazy how efficient this is managed. Just look, this is a train station. I am not in an airport. I know this looks like an airport, but this is only one of, I don't know, 4 or 5 train stations in Beijing. This is just crazy. Look, there are the robots waiting. They're off, they're charging right now. Here you can rent all of your power banks in case your phone's battery is dead. Over there, this is the subway entrance. But with all of my stuff, I think I'm just gonna try to take a taxi today. This is crazy. This is just so efficient. There's like dozens of taxis already lined up out there, all waiting to pick up passengers that just arrived from Dandong, from the border with North Korea, here to the capital, Beijing. By the way, all of these cars here are electric because we're in like in a closed space, and this is all electric in here, so there's like no fumes from the car exhaust, and like this is so modern.
往前走点，师傅。好了。
谢谢。And then I drove through this maze of white underground tunnels in my electric taxi. Good morning to Beijing. Yesterday we arrived here on the bullet train and it was a really cool experience, and I might sound like a nerd now, but I'm actually really excited for this new train model to be released so I can try it. So I'll definitely be back here sometime this year. And now it's time to explore Beijing. So if you're curious what China's capital has to offer, check out my next videos. And thank you so much for watching this video until the end.